Hello, Telvani here. After my last video on Tornado Shot Raider, I've been having a lot of players asking me how to craft a tri-elemental bow, so I thought I would very quickly share with you how to go about crafting a bow like this. I would like to preface this with the fact that crafting a bow like this can be quite expensive, so for players on a lower budget, you are better off just buying a random bow with +1 or +2 arrows and high elemental damage. If we go over to the trade website and look for a bow with at least 800 elemental DPS and +1 or +2 arrows, you can see the market is flooded with bows, all of which will cost you less than 10x. So with that out of the way, let's get into crafting the bow. To start off, you're going to want a spine bow with fractured +2 arrows. On lower budgets, you could do this with an item level 82 or higher fractured +1 arrow or synthesized +1 arrow bow. However, as I said at the beginning of the video, you're probably better off just purchasing a random bow at that point. Alright, to get this fractured base you have two options. You can purchase it from another player, or you can make your way over to the Forbidden Trove Discord. Here you can try and buy a Harvest Fracture craft from another player. On average, buying fractures is slightly more cost efficient. However, I generally just buy a pre-fractured bow. As buying a fractured bow is more time efficient, there is no risk of getting scammed, and fracturing it yourself is only on average cheaper. You could get lucky and get the fracture +2 arrows on your very first try, but you could also get very unlucky and find yourself in a situation where you spent dozens of exalts more than it would have cost you to just buy the bow outright. Alright, now that we have our bow, we are going to spam essence. You can use Anger Essence, Hatred Essence, or Wrath Essence. I think generally Anger or Hatred Essence are the cheapest, so just use whatever is cheapest at the time. For this example, we're going to use Hatred. So we're going to spam Hatred Essences until we get prefixes that we can work with or live with. Alright, we didn't get anything good there, or there, or there. Alright, we've got lightning damage here. It's not high enough lightning damage. You'd probably want tier 2 or 3 minimum before you want to kind of mess around with it at all. But for the sake of the example, we'll just work with this. So now you have lightning damage and cold damage. You also have an open prefix. So since you have an open prefix, you can use beast crafting, suffix to prefix, and hopefully get fire damage. We didn't get fire damage, but if this was a high tier of lightning damage, let's say like tier 1 or tier 2, you could always take the gamble of the 1 and 4 and try to annul off the physical damage. Annulment orbs are super cheap this league, like 2C each, so it's probably more cost efficient to do this honestly, as Hatred Essences I think are like 6C, 7C in bulk. So we're going to try to hit off the physical damage here. We didn't do it, but for the sake of the example, we're just going to keep going until we actually hit it. There we go, we hit off the physical damage. So now you can do the same thing again, Beastcraft suffix to prefix. Again, we didn't get the fire damage we were looking for, so you would go ahead and annulment. And there we go. We're out of suffixes though, so oh no, what do? We can actually go to our bench craft and craft on just any random suffix. Let's say like tier 1 dexterity. That should probably only be like 1 transmutation orb. And then we can continue at it. And there we go, we hit fire damage. Alright, for the sake of time, I've gone ahead and doctored up a really good set of prefixes. If you try this for yourself, you probably won't have tier 1 on everything, but I would just aim for tier 3 or and above, or maybe tier 1 and tier 4. Once we have our prefixes, the rest of the craft is pretty deterministic. You'd want to make sure that your suffixes are empty. On this bow, for example, we have dexterity. In order to remove that dexterity safely, what we would do is go to our bench craft, and we will bench craft on prefixes cannot be changed to protect our prefixes, and then you can go ahead and safely scour the item. And there we go, we just have our prefixes and our fractured bowcraft. If your item has full suffixes, however, You could also purchase a harvest craft, reforge, keep prefixes, to hopefully open up a suffix slot for prefixes cannot be changed. So there we go, we reforged, and now we have only 2 suffixes. So then we can go ahead and go back to our bench, craft on prefixes cannot be changed, and scour the item. At this point, we are going to again craft on prefixes cannot be changed, and then Aisling slam it at a syndicate safe house. Since we have the modifier prefixes cannot be changed, that means the Aisling slam cannot choose any of our prefixes. And because the bowcraft is fractured, it can't choose this either. So the only thing Aisling can hit is prefixes cannot be changed. Next up, we are going to want to bench craft on the most common suffix that we don't want, which is triggered a socketed spell. So we're going to bench craft that on. This will prevent the Aisling Veil from choosing that modifier. So then we can go ahead and unveil it. And as you'll see, we, on our very first try, got strength and intelligence and 28% crit chance. That's perfect. Another option would also be double damage, chance to deal double damage, or perhaps attributes plus attack speed. But ideally you want strength and intelligence and increased critical strike chance. If you got a completely useless veil, however, you could go back like we were doing before, and you could craft on prefixes cannot be changed, scour, and repeat the process. However, we got something we want, so we're pretty much done with the bow. All we need to do now is craft on increased attack speed, and your bow is pretty much perfect. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please be sure to hit that like button. Good luck with your league, take it easy, and I'll see you in the next one.